Well, welcome everybody to the August Open Cafe. Hope you got your beverage ready, whatever your beverage is. Mine's sparkly mineral water. Trying to settle this whatever thing's going on with my stomach. Oh, I'm never sick. It's just it's nothing. I was just up, kept awake all last night by these pangs in my stomach. But my daughter's had a thing like that for a while, so it's some weird bug. So it will go. Okay, so let me share my screen. I nearly was sharing somebody else's chart. That wouldn't be a good thing. Actually, it was mine, but so it wouldn't have been so bad. But anyway, because I don't feel on top of the world, I'm going to go fairly quick through August. I got no little mini readings, which is fine, but I'm going to pull some cards for the month too, just to kind of give you some guidance. But I do have to say that overall, the month is going to be much, if anything, about 2019 could be considered easy. Oh, I'm just going to pull this towards me a bit more. If anything could be considered easy about 2019, this is an easier month. July was a bit brutal, quite honestly, with the eclipses and things. Of course, not everybody felt it, but you know, just emotionally and just like what's going on in the world, kind of, even if you try not to focus on it, it kind of filters into your psyche a little bit, of course, no matter how detached you stay. But here we are going into August. We're today, where are we? 29th today. So yeah, so we've got tomorrow's the last day of July. I cannot believe that we are through 7 months already of 2019. It's kind of funny because I almost keep saying 2020 already. Normally I'm behind on these things. It's like almost like get 2019 out of the way. But just overall, August is going to be a lot more creative, inspired, playful, fun, joyful, or that's going to be available to you. It kind of fits, really. You know, Leo season is always a little bit lighter, well, generally. Hasn't felt that way for me this week, but generally it really is. And we've got some lovely Venus aspects coming, and the aspects generally are fairly easeful ones that I don't think there's any such thing as a good aspect and a bad aspect, okay? But generally they are more easeful, especially the start of the month. Really is very Venusian and very sunny Leo kind of energy. So we start the month with well, tomorrow night we have the new moon in Leo. It's really late in this part of the world, but it's on August the 1st in a lot of parts of the world. It's still at the same degree wherever you are in the world. So I'm just going to go forward. And then I think I'm going to go to bed for a while. So today we have the moon in Cancer, and tomorrow the moon will be in Cancer too. So I just want to talk about that for a bit. The moon will oppose all the stuff in Capricorn that we've got. And you know, the moon rules Cancer, so she's very comfortable in there. But this is all triggering the degree of, in fact, I'll go back to now. We'll start here. The moon is in Cancer now. So, over the next few hours and the next day, she's going to move through here, and she is going to connect with the moon's nodes. She's going to oppose Saturn first. She's going to pass the eclipse degree, the 2nd of July one, and then she's going to meet up with Mercury pretty much at the 2nd July 16th eclipse degree. And because we're in the new moon stage, so close to the new moon, the waning part, this is all very inward, and it's going to be quite bumpy emotionally. There's perhaps going to be some stuff coming up around what's happened in the eclipses and things. Okay, so that I just wanted to kind of give you an idea what we're leading into, so we can see that by tomorrow evening, the moon has opposed all these and can join the North Node, and then is meeting Mercury, which Mercury's stationing to station direct right after the new moon. But these two meet at 24 degrees, or just almost 24 degrees, which was the degree where the sun was on the July 16th eclipse, and that's exactly squaring Eris. So, Eris is the goddess of discord. Pluto is really kind of the excavator and the death and transformation kind of energy. And Mercury stationing and opposing Saturn, that feels like a very bumpy day emotionally tomorrow. So, just be kind to yourself. Cancer is at the strongest when you're just being really kind to yourself. So, and then we go on to August. We'll get there finally. Oh, not quite there yet. Let me go a day. I've gone too far now. But we have the new moon in Leo, and the new moon is in very close square to Uranus. And I've done the whole podcast about this, and we have the trine also to, I'm just seeing who else is here. Hi, Deb. Oh, Heather, did you raise your hand? Does that mean you want to say something? Or did you not mean to?
Hey, it's Heather. I was actually trying to figure out if there was a way to comment as we go like we used to be able to. Is this a different tool?
No, it's the same one. There's a chat box. You're on your phone, though. It's a bit harder to find. It's at the bottom on your screen somewhere. If you I can't remember where it is on the phone app.
Chat box. Okay, I'll keep looking. Thank you.
There definitely is a chat box.
I was just gonna tell you hi. That's all. I was looking for the chat.
Hi. Oh, that's okay. Well, hi. Okay, so I'm not going to go on and on about the new moon, except it will feel, it's in Leo. It's got Uranus. There could be some shocks. The sun square to Uranus is happening, or imminently, as we record this. And, after I wrote today's post called Kaboom, then I published it, and right away the news came through of the shooting in California in Gilroy. And so it has got that kind of explosive energy of people kind of losing their heads a bit. But there's always this pluses and negatives with these things. There is always yin and yang. And this has got a real awakening feel, this new moon. A real kind of empowered, like step into your shine, your leadership. And I'm really hoping it works, because already so behind on the writing, and I feel like shit, and I don't feel like writing. So it's like, but anyway, we will try and tap into this Leo stuff. But so right after the new moon, Mercury stations direct. Hallelujah. But because Mercury is stationing right where the sun was on the July the 16th eclipse, I really think that there is something coming to the fore. Some information is going to come up. It could be in the news, though. It might not, but it might be just some memories for you. We're also harking back to April the 22nd as well. But I talked about that in today's post. But this Mercury station being right here, and also because it's opposing Pluto still, this is really going to churn up some memories, I think, or something that you kind of had thought about on the eclipses, but kind of pushed to one side because Mercury retrograde, and it's going to come back to the fore when Mercury stations right after the new moon on late on July 31st here and on August the 1st in most places in the world. So, but then after that, we have some lovely Venus aspects because Venus is conjunct the new moon. I haven't got this exact to the place, but Venus is conjunct and Venus is trine Chiron. I do think there's some potential here for some real kind of healing work. Interestingly, I've been, we've been doing the Morning Pages Challenge in this group. Well, I'm actually in the middle of listening to a broadcast, an interview with Julia Cameron, who created the Morning Pages. And it's funny, she came back into my life just for this energy, and I started listening to it this morning. And she talked about it even more, the Morning Pages, about how, you just write whatever. It's not meant to be, let me think what I've got to write about. It's whatever comes out in your mind. And I often, when I'm in the flow of it, I jump from one thing to another. I go, oh, my car has this noise happened in my car. Oh, and that reminds me, this happened, and that, and oh, I don't know what to write now. I jump all over the place in the Morning Pages, and that's okay. That's kind of what they're for, because once you get that jumble out. But she did talk more about the artist date, and I'm actually considering bringing that into the group as well, and I can explain more about that later. But I'm just going to mention that the artist date is doing one thing on your own that really kind of pleases you, and she talks about like going to an art gallery, but she also talks about just going and sitting in a park undisturbed, or she gives a whole list of things, and it's something she suggests that people do once a week, so that they kind of date themselves once a week. It can be for 15 minutes, so it doesn't have to take lots of time. It's just something to focus on you. I know that's not always easy when you've got a little babe, but anybody that's up for the challenge to do that as well as the Morning Pages. I'm going to finish listening to the call when I get time and by August the 1st, and put something in the group about it. Nobody has to join. It's kind of something I want to do for myself. So if you want to join me, yes, do. But then after Venus is conjunct the new moon, she immediately goes on to trine Chiron and then to square Uranus. There could be some shocks in the financial market. There could be some unpleasant surprises, but it could also mean a bit of a windfall because Venus is money, or it could mean just having this real creative boost where you just feel on fire creatively. So let's hope it comes that way. Now I'm only going to look at the major aspects. The 7th of August, the sun has moved on. I'm going too fast. The sun moves on, and the sun actually trines Jupiter on the 7th. Now, that's very powerful. This whole time is very powerful because Venus will come up to trine Jupiter too. And Jupiter is also stationing direct after his long retrograde. So we have Mercury stationing direct right after the new moon, and then Jupiter stations direct on the 11th of August. But this Venus and Jupiter are described as the benefics, which means they're the lucky planets. And Jupiter is in his own sign, so he's absolutely powerful. Jupiter happens to be sitting on my Jupiter when we do this. Woo, woo. and all these two, Venus and the Sun is, shines her light on everything too, are making this trine aspect at 14 degrees, and 14 degrees is a 14.5, and it's kind of the number of the media. So again, something could be in the news, but at a personal level, this is very visionary, creative energy, especially with Venus and Jupiter, and it's expansive and kind of lucky. And I can't wait till August the 7th to get on with the writing. But I'm hoping if I kind of push through this turgid time that I'm having, that by the 7th, it kind of goes whoosh and dives out. But anyway, look for that as being a good day. Well, it's kind of all that period. 7th, Sun trines Jupiter. 8th, Venus trines Jupiter. And then Jupiter stations on the 11th. So, that period from like just before the 7th to the 11th is very expansive. And then Mercury goes back into Leo on the 11th at the same time as Jupiter stations direct. Oh God, sorry. Okay. I hit the wrong button. I hit the one where it kind of changes days on its own. You can tell I'm not quite with it. Anyway, Jupiter station direct on the 11th. Mercury has gone back into Leo. So, Jupiter in Sagittarius, fire. Leo, fire. Already with Venus, Sun, and Mars in Leo. And then Mercury joins them in. So look how much fire we're suddenly going to have. And fire forward energy as well. But then we have on the 12th, we've got 2 planets going direct. Uranus stations retrograde. Now, Uranus stations can be a little bit uncomfortable, and especially in an Earth sign. And, he's the lord of lightning bolts and shocks and surprises. And if you have anything triggered by the station degree, it can trigger a surprise or a shock for you. To say this, you might all think I'm awful, but I'm going to say it anyway. My bottom of my chart is 6 degrees Taurus, and that's the IC, which is one of the parents, usually the mother or the home. I've kind of had a bit of a feeling something might happen with my mom around then, but it could be something with my own home too. But my mom's a Taurus, and this is in Taurus, so you never know. We'll see. There's no point on dwelling on it or whatever, but and if it happens, that's the way of the world, I guess. But we'll see. I'll keep you informed. It could be something to do with my own home, or it could be an inner awakening too. But if you have anything at 6 degrees of Taurus, or 6 degrees, particularly of the cardinal signs, which are Taurus, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And if you've got anything aspected by that Uranus, then you may feel a bit of a jolt with the station on the August the 12th. Okay. August the 14th is a big day. I'm actually just gonna, because I want to get this one exact, because I want to tell you I remember now, it's at 2111. We have the Venus Sun conjunction. At 21 degrees. with an exact inconjunct action to Pluto. Now, this is called the Venus star point. And, we have Venus makes the 5-pointed star that represents the human body, the head, the Vitruvian man, that image. And the Venus pattern follows this 5-pointed star. And each Venus star point is a really important moment in time, because it's almost like one of your limbs or your head or something. This one at 21 degrees Leo. Again, if you have anything around that degree of particularly the fixed signs, which are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, then you may be deeply affected by this. This happens to be conjunct my Uranus. Oh my God. So you can see I'm having a bit of a Uranian months ahead. But so we'll see what surprises that brings. But the Venus star point is, the sun and Venus are radiating together. If you think about where we are in the universe, we have the sun, then we have Mercury, then we have Venus, then we are the third rock from the sun, which is what that show was about. Venus is the next closest planet to the sun, and is said in esoteric astrology to be our higher selves. And here we have Venus and the sun making their star point. It happens about every 9 months. Yes, 9 months. a birthing. Think back what happened about 9 months ago. And anything that happens on this Venus star point will probably come to fruition in the retrograde next spring, when I do my Venus retrograde class, when we have a Venus star point in Gemini. But this is the exterior conjunction. This is the one where Venus is moving forward. She's not visible to the eye. She's come from being the morning star to hidden by the beams of the sun, and will then go to be evening star to slowly move down towards her retrograde path. But a Venus star point is a very fortuitous day, and usually something very marked occurs around that time, especially if you have anything around that. But this aspect to Pluto that's kind of intriguing me. This is an inconjunct aspect, which is an uncomfortable aspect, because it's from fire fixed to cardinal Earth. That's kind of a bit earthquakey too. And Pluto, has been undermining the patriarchy for God knows how long. So I would not be surprised if something really comes to light, because Pluto excavates the shadow and the dirt around August the 13th. Particularly, maybe it'll be the release of Epstein's documents or something, something like that. But I think it's going to be pretty major, okay, around that time. All right. So then we've gone 2 weeks in. We have a full moon in Aquarius then, right after all this. So I'm just going to get the moon to, I think we need to go ahead a day. There, we're near enough. So the full moon will be at 22 Aquarius, I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay, sun and moon, Aquarius, with Venus still there. We're kind of still under the influence of this Venus star point. Interestingly, you look around this 21, 22 degree mark. We had that thing to Pluto, but we've got Eris again, who's around there. We've also got Vesta. And so, there's a lot of shaking up, a lot of female energy coming in again. Okay. 15th of August, Mercury leaves his shadow zone. Finally done with this Mercury retrograde, which actually hasn't been too bad for me. But I know some people have had some nightmares. But again, it's usually not life-changing things. some good stuff has come out of it. I got my new book contract. I know I'm struggling with it, but I got it during the Mercury retrograde. It's like the publisher reappeared from the past and came up. But right after Mercury leaves his shadow, because of where Chiron and Uranus are 5 and 6 degrees at the moment, quite often we have a Chiron aspect followed by a Uranus aspect, and Mercury will, and we saw that already with another planet. But Mercury is really, when Mercury leaves his shadow, he starts trotting along at a real fast pace from our perspective. So he will square Chiron and trine Chiron and square Uranus. Now, Mercury is the lower mind, Uranus is the higher mind. Chiron is the bridge between worlds. So between kind of the more personal planets and the outer planets, he's the rainbow bridge, he's often called. And he has a kind of anxious energy at times too. So this is kind of a bit anxiety inducing, and again could bring some shocks and surprises information wise. Okay. After Mercury makes those aspects, we kind of pass the biggest aspects for the month, but then Mars will enter Virgo on August the 18th. Mars in Virgo, you're driven to really work under Mars in Virgo, but also there can be a lot of hypercritical behavior with Mars in Virgo, because Virgo can be very critical indeed. So, but it's very driven to do routines, get work done, all that kind of stuff. On the 21st of August, Venus follows Mars into Virgo, and Leo sunny season really starts to be over. Schools will be back, people will be back to work. Mercury from that day will trine Jupiter. So if you remember, we had the Sun and Venus trining Jupiter. Remember those dates from about 7th to 11th of August? Well, here we have Mercury trining on August the 21st. Jupiter, that might bring a recurrence of something that came up earlier. All right. So we're at the 21st. And then on the 23rd, we enter the Sun in Virgo season. So pretty much, and Juno shortly afterwards. I'm not going to talk about what she is. But then we've got Sun, Venus, and Mars. It's very interesting that they are the personal planets, and Mercury is the other personal planet. All so close together. Mercury is moving really fast. Okay, so I just want to go a bit further forward. Venus conjuncts Mars. Oh, she's overtaken now. It's actually on the 21st. Venus conjuncts Mars. So it's like your anima and animus coming together under the beams of the sun. Nobody can see Sun and Mars at the moment, because the sun beams are so bright that they're hidden. So they're both debilitated, but also got the sun kind of energizing them a little bit. So we can't feel them as well. It's kind of a bit of an awkward energy. But you can see Mercury is bombing along. Now he's only 8 degrees behind the sun, so he's catching up to the sun too. So these are all the personal planets, like the sun is your ego, Mercury is your mind, Mars is your drive and will, Venus is your relationship energy, and then we'll have the moon coming around to catch up as well. Yeah. So you can see, I've not got it exact, but look at this. all those personal planets, the sun, the moon, Mercury now as well in Virgo, only 4 degrees behind the sun. All that personal energy, all in Virgo. And what is Virgo really about? But service. Virgo is, how am I useful in this world? It's also, this is like, get to work on whatever it is that's been brewing for you, whatever it is that coming out of the eclipses, what you really want to do in the world. It's get your head down and get to work under this energy. And it will continue pretty much through to the end of August. Are there any other aspects I do want to talk about? Well, on the 28th, I missed it. Mars was trining Uranus. So all this energy here, basically, first Venus, then Mars and the moon, then the sun will come up. It's all going to trine Uranus, which again has a bit of that shock value. Now, I think at a personal level, most people will experience this as a bit of an awakening kind of energy and a bit of a boost. So he's a bit of a benevolent rebel, generally, Uranus, but he does cause some shocks sometimes. So 30th of August, the sun will trine Uranus. And then right after, we have the new moon in Virgo. So I've just gone a little bit past. So this new moon is huge. This new moon, Virgo. Of course, we'll do the podcast episode for it. Is conjunct Mercury, conjunct Mars, conjunct Venus, trine Uranus. So we're kind of ending the month and starting the month with a very creative new moon. And then we're, it feels like create, play, laugh, joy, Venus, good things, expansion, end of the month, bam, change. Okay, you've got to get serious and get to work now. Okay, that's not always a bad thing. All right, so I want to pull some cards. Any questions in the chat box, if you found the chat box? I'm going to pull 3 cards. I did a public card reading for my members too, so oh, how interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, I should not laugh. Okay, so the 3 cards for the month. First, we have the Mars in Leo card, guess where Mars is? Leo. And that's the 7 of Wands, and that's really kind of inspired action, kind of thought, creativity. It's valor. This is the valor card. You can see it says valor on the bottom there, but this is the courage to stay by what you value and not to compromise or settle for less. The central niched wand on this card represents a reminder to trust your experience. If you have the courage to stay by what you value, things will unfold like the lotus blossoms, renew and regenerate themselves, or allow you to move in new directions that you value, which is represented by the phoenix heads. And you are able to see things more clearly and able to honor your vision and creativity. And that's by the Eye of Horus on where's the Eye of Horus? Oh, it's the winged one. So yes, this is Mars and Leo, which is where Mars in Leo is, and it's talking about energy and vitality, supporting your creative expression. So it's repeating what I said about the month. Also, we have the Sagittarius card. So we had the 7 of Wands, and now we have the 9 of Wands. And this is strength. So you've got valor or courage and strength. And this is spiritual and intuitive strength of vision. This is not like weightlifting kind of strength. This is Sun and Moon in Sagittarius, which symbolizes consciousness and conscious and subconscious strength. We could take it to be the Jupiter station direct, really, too. So, you know, this is what you've got available to you. You've got courage, valor, and strength. You've got it in you to really do it. Okay, this month. And then this card made me laugh. The end of the month. When we go into all that Virgo kind of energy, look at this woman. She's cut the head off. So it's the Queen of Swords. So here we are, the Queen of Swords. She's chopped the head off, and looks absolutely satiated. I just want to find out what the book tells me about that meaning, but it kind of made me laugh. After all that creativity, create, all through the month, we end the month with this swords symbol, the Queen of Swords. And she looks like she's really kind of just it made kind of, if you've read my post today yet, I talked about that guy who was mansplaining to me. But anyway, but the real meaning of this is that she is the mask cutter. So this is a mask in her hand. It's not the head of a man, really. It's a symbol of having cut through your own masks, roles, and defenses in order to retain your objectivity and clarity, which is the crystal crown, and the childlike innocence and curiosity, which is the child's head on the top as well. The Queen of Swords is the royal counselor or the consultant in the royalty symbols. She has the ability to counsel and consult others and has the wisdom to seek counseling and consulting when necessary. This is actually the goddess Athena, and she's my tattoo symbol. So this is mastery of the objective, rational mind, okay, which is centered and deepening in consciousness. So this is very Virgo-y to me. So it kind of just supports the whole month as we've gone through it. So my tummy's panging again. So I'm going to go and love you and leave you for now. There will be another one. I'm going to make sure I get to these monthly, even though I've got the book on. I need a break from writing, I've discovered. I think I let everything slide when I was doing the book last time, and it was not healthy. Believe it or not, doing something like this is as much of a break as doing anything else. So there will be mini readings available next month, but if nobody does one, that's fine too. I don't care. It's fine. I just love being able to do this for you. So I think that's it. Oh yeah, for anybody on here that isn't in my membership, I think most of you are. But if you're not, you know, I have levels of membership from just $1 a month or $10 a year for all my writing and some of the little treats now and then, and $5 a month or $50 a year gets you all my writing and the month ahead videos and other little treats. So consider, I will put the link with the recording. If you're not a member, consider joining us. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But I love my membership group. It's growing nicely. So much love to you all. Mwah.